There is something on my heart today that is important for me to put out there in the best way that I know how, which is on social media. So, first things first, I'm not much for feminism. I consider myself more of a humanist. I think that men and women are completely different species. Our brains were built differently, our bodies were built differently. We are both spectacular creatures in our own ways. With that being said, I'm pretty pissed and frustrated and kind of sad for women today. As a woman in a male-dominated industry, I find myself in situations fairly often where I'm touched in ways I don't want to be touched. I'm talked to in ways I don't want to be talked to. For example, recently I was at an industry conference. There were 3 women present, about 40 men. Most of them were older than me, considered my seniors in higher positions. We were all staying at the same hotel, and at the hotel bar afterwards, it wasn't late, it was like 9 o'clock at night. There was a handful of us, I'd say like 7 or 8 of us, playing a trivia game, and I was the only female there. I know that being at a bar is a little bit of a red flag, right? But nobody was obliterated. Everything seemed like it was totally under control. And there was a question that came up in the trivia game along the lines of, there's a hole you can't get into. And this guy who's the lead of this company, head of an organization and a team that does a lot of business in their own respective right, gestures to me in front of everyone and says, like, this hole? Like, he literally called me a hole he couldn't get into in front of a group of my peers. And I look up, so kind of like shocked, and people and everyone in the group either like looked at me like shocked or they averted their eyes. And if I didn't have like an old fashioned in my system, I don't know that I would have had the confidence to have told that guy, you can't talk to me like that. So these types of things happen all the time. The hand on the small of my back, the comments about whatever it is, the late night text messages. Yesterday or last week, a young female in my office who I am a mentor to, who's in a similar position as I am, found herself in a situation where she was being touched and talked to unwantingly, and everyone told her to go to bed. Maybe it's time for you to go to bed, as if she was the one that did something wrong, as if it was her fault or she was the one acting out of line. And the best advice that I could give her, as someone that she looks up to and somebody who experiences a similar thing, is 1, try to speak up next time. Tell him to mind his own space, which is really easy to say and frankly really hard to do when you want to not make a wave and get somebody's business. And then 2 is get used to it. It happens. It is so wrong that the best advice I can give her, and the truest advice, is to get used to it. I don't think that these things change with a hashtag or a protest or a parade. I think that these things change with an individual being brave enough in that situation to step up and say, maybe you shouldn't talk to her like that. And it goes both ways. It takes bravery to do something like that, and to lead by example. That's where the real changes happen. If you find yourself in a scenario like that, where you see someone objectifying other people, making them uncomfortable based on anything other than their professional merit, brains, personality, whatever, be the change the culture. I don't want my best advice to have to be to get used to it. So, with that being said, shout out to my company for having an absolute zero tolerance policy. And hopefully I'll be a little bit less complacent moving forward about just some of the things that I go through to try to keep the peace and get the business. Hope you're having a great day, and if this resonated with you, please share it. I know that there's a lot of risk in going viral, but I would be okay if this went viral.